Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to be talking to Hayden Hillier-Smith, the ex-editor for Logan Paul, and one of the greatest editors on the YouTube platform today. This is the full interview from my main channel video, where I talk to the world's biggest YouTube editors. I think this chat is really interesting with Hayden, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. See you later. See how this looks?
Ew.
Do you see me
genuinely,
on my nice boat?
For that split second, I genuinely thought you were on a boat.
Got him!
For that split... You genuinely got me for a second there. I love the fact that we both have like our collectibles as our backdrop.
Yeah, this is my wall of props slash filmmaking stuff. I'm not proud of it yet, but it's a work in progress. How you doing, dude? How's it going? Nice to see you. Dude.
I've been really good. I think it's been definitely been a really interesting year. Yeah, I've had a chance to really look back and reflect on it. It's been a lot of running around, and I think honestly, transparently, I've been getting more and more and more interested in what's going on in film and TV land at the moment.
Okay.
I think it's been fascinating because I think the conversations I've been having there, it's like, wait, they think about editing at such an advanced level that like we thought we were good, and then the way they talk about it just makes us look like amateurs. And I've actually been obsessed with that idea, and it's like what else do they know? So we've kind of doubled down recently on like interviewing TV and film editors, and it's been fascinating what they've been teaching us.
Yeah, it's a good topic, isn't it? The comparison between YouTube editing and TV editing or film editing, because obviously they're so different. I'm pretty sure we had this conversation in person already, but yeah, I'm still like I haven't even scratched the surface on actual film TV editing technique.
Those worlds are colliding now. That's why I think it's worth looking into it. Their industry has existed for 100 years at this point. They've had 100 years to figure this out. Our industry is barely 20. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what else do they know? And then also, they're getting more and more into the web media space now as well. I think right now the best example probably would be Mr. Beast having his show going on Amazon Prime. And then also, and it's going to be interesting to see how things are going to be changed, or if not at all. I'm seeing pretty much everything going on streaming, which is essentially just like, I would categorize it as web content anyway.
Yeah.
And those worlds are colliding. Like the best example is always going to be when I had a conversation with a Star Wars editor. I was so excited to talk to him about the editing of Star Wars, but all he wanted to talk about was the editing of TikTok.
Wow.
It was like a really kind of confusing conversation where he was so excited about our world, but I was so excited about his. Yeah. And that was that moment that made me realize how much these two worlds are like merging together.
I feel like just having met you once before that you will be at the forefront. You'll probably be a very large pioneer in that conversation. And I'm very excited to see that happen.
I really hope so. I do want to blend those two worlds together because I think they don't need to be separate anymore. We're all using video, film to entertain the people that we choose to entertain with specific styles and ideas. And I think we're all doing the same process, like slightly different attitudes, but we're still trying to deliver essentially the same product.
Entertainment. Hayden, tell me your name and then and also who you're currently working with, if you can say that.
So people often think my full name is Hayden Hillier-Smith. It's not. It's Hayden Teddy Hillier-Smith.
Oh shit. Is this a Finzar exclusive? Is this whoa?
It's a Finzar exclusive. This is we're dropping this. No one ever knows this. My middle name is Teddy. My mom wanted me to be called Teddy. My dad wanted to be called Hayden, and he won the argument. So I'm now called Hayden, but they then chose compromise. My middle name is Teddy.
All right, Hayden Teddy Hillier-Smith.
Let's go.
Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
So
this interview.
I was already in the interview.
I say interview. Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna now brief you on the interview.
Okay.
After you've said an amazing, already just huge.
I was already in interview. I'm already in interview mode. Sorry.
I'm basically, this video is going to be about. It's a very simplified version of basically asking a few pretty big editors in the space. How did you get into editing in the first place, and what made you install that software?
Me being 30 years old, I've definitely been in this industry so long now, which is weird because I still feel young, but yet also still old. But I think what it was that I wanted to be an actor, so I started filming. But then as I was doing the filming, I went, wait a minute, this is quite fun. And then I started experimenting with that filming. And then I showed a couple of my friends some of my videos at school, and then they started sharing it across the entire school. And then I ended up getting essentially what is my first viral video. And I went, oh, this is really fun. And then I started experimenting with all the aspects of filmmaking, but it all genuinely over time led to the editing. That was where I had the most fun. That was the place where I get to fix all of my mistakes. That was the place where I got to fix or just make things better. That was when I could just manipulate everything into the best version it could be that I just simply couldn't do on the day. I don't know. I just had the most fun. I was able to tell a completely new story in that place. And that was for me as a filmmaker where I found I had the most control.
Yeah.
And I liked that. And so over time, it just became more and more and more of the thing that I did. I do miss directing. I do miss filming. I do miss lighting. I do miss acting. But honestly, editing was the best part of the filmmaking process. And yeah, this is where I'm stuck for the rest of my life.
It's a strange kind of parallel that we have there, because I also wanted to start out as an actor. And I joined a theatre class. My sixth one was like known for theatre, and I immediately was paired up with the kid that had already been in TV shows, adverts, was absolutely gorgeous, and just acted his tits off on that first class. And I got like cold feet on the whole thing. I was like, I'm just not going to be able to compete against this. And then went to Film Academy and found my real tribe there.
Weirdly, again, parallel again. There was that one kid in my stage school. His name was Reese. He was hot as fuck, and he was always getting like the best roles, the roles that I always wanted.
Yeah, dude.
But I guess both of us were we like the nerdy kind of weird, quiet kids a little bit at school.
I think we were both. Yeah, absolutely. And we were both the kids that would film and star in our own videos, because I've seen your oldest videos on your channel, because I remember you posted something saying that they were available. And I I really like.
Well, I look back at them. Honestly, they're still so fun. Like like the product of its time, but they're still really funny for me. And you could just see the touches of me. You could see me falling in love with filmmaking right there and there.
Absolutely, man. When I was watching it, I could see that you were having fun making those.
Yeah.
And a lot of parallels. It's really cool. What was your first big break in the editing scene?
Oh, okay. I think, fortunately, everyone knows this, but it always still is an interesting story. But I think the big break, or what I would actually call, is the golden ticket. The golden ticket was me getting the job with Logan Paul. I think, and that was in 2016. And I think I had been trying to crack it. I've been trying to crack the industry. I've been trying to make things work for a vast majority of years at that point. And I had sort of these really good like mini breaks, but I wasn't in a place that really felt like it was utilizing the potential that I wanted to unleash. And then, but all of that experience of me trying to push those boundaries then gave me that job with Logan. But honestly though, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it was my golden ticket at the time, because he was just that kid from Vine, that loud, obnoxious dude who does silly pranks on the street. And I was like, I'll just do this for 6 months, and while I'm doing this, I'll be finding another job.
Yeah.
And then 6 months in, he was at the time the quickest creator to get to 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
But again, how quickly people get to 1 million subscribers today, like it's nothing. But at that time, I looked at that and went, oh, actually, this might be special.
Yeah.
So I chose to hang around and then hanged out with him from 2016 all the way up to 2022. But it was because I then suddenly saw the potential that he was going to get. He sold me on his potential. And I was like, yep, I like this. I'm going to go ride this train as long as I can. But I think, it was important that I genuinely didn't think it was my big break until one day I looked around and went, oh, this is cool.
I'm interested just to know what the process was of actually applying and then getting that job. Like, how did that actually physically manifest itself?
So this is one of my favorite stories. So there's 2 points. I want to preface this with a point.
Okay.
Quite a few people have said that luck doesn't exist in this industry. It absolutely does. But you have to get luck and back it up with skill at the same time. Because you might get that golden ticket, but if you don't have the skill, you're fucked. So I think how I then got that job was I was working I just came out of university. I just came out of film school. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my career. I know I want to be on web media. And so I got a job with this Facebook video company. And also at the time, Facebook video, like that was the shit. That was like what TikTok is today. Again, different time, different time.
The shit.
That was the shit. And so I started working for Facebook video company. I was doing a pretty decent job there, but there was a couple of things that I just didn't creatively agree with.
Right.
And so me and the boss started arguing every single day. And it then got to a point where we're having such a massive argument that I then say to him, go fuck yourself.
Damn.
And this boss is not the boss you go say that to, because he was what I would say, he was like the Mr. Beast of Facebook video at the time. And so This is me saying at the time, go fuck yourself to Mr. Beast. And so word went round. But the most interesting thing with all of this was that I actually became really good friends with the chef of the office.
Okay.
And he happened to be connected with Logan's manager, Jeff.
Oh, shit. That is such... That connection is crazy. Oh my God.
Just because I made friends with the chef, and he... I still don't know how was connected via 1 degree of separation to Logan. Jeff and Logan then heard that story, and then Logan went, "That's the kid I want."
Holy shit!
And so he then gave me a test edit, and I just blew it out of the water. And he was like, I knew exactly what he needed and what he wanted for his video without any notes. I then did the test edit, sent it to him, and I think 2 hours later, he calls me, and he says, "Bro, the stars have aligned." Because if I hadn't, and so this is the weirdest thing for me, where if I held my tongue and didn't tell the boss to go fuck himself and kept my head down, I wouldn't be in the position that I am today. And that is a terrible lesson to learn.
It's
being
cool,
an
though.
arse.
It is cool, though. That is a very cool story. It's like a movie, man. This sounds like...
It is. Yeah.
If there's like an editing movie to be made, it's about you right now.
But this is what I mean by luck and skill. I had the skill, but by sheer weird, unorthodox luck, it's like my shitty behavior gave me a benefit, which is a terrible lesson to have.
It just sounds like an artist who just knew what they want. Like, you knew the vision you had.
No, it was. It's very important for me to listen into if I'm not liking something.
Yeah.
Especially given a few more obvious contexts in my career as well. So it's very important for me if something, I've learned the lesson that you can get benefits if you are capable and able to speak up and say, this isn't where I want to be. Let me see if I can shake things up a bit to help me towards the path of where I feel like I should be.
Yeah. What did like the first year look like working with Logan?
The benefit with Logan was, so this was his idea and it was really smart. He was doing daily vlogging.
Yeah.
So he would film his day in Los Angeles, and then he would immediately start loading it onto a cloud drive. And then I would then have it automatically be downloading onto my laptop. And so what this then meant is that as he's finishing his day at around 10 p.m. and he starts uploading, at around 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. my time, there is just footage just on my laptop ready to be edited.
Yeah.
And then he then goes to sleep. I then start my day. And then by the time he wakes up at around like 8 to 9 a.m., the video is ready to go. So the video is edited as he was sleeping. And that then became the process for the first year. And what that meant is pretty much the deadline was every single day. That was the interesting part. So it didn't matter if it's a hard video. Fuck you, get it finished that day. It was sheer variety, because since he was quite a crazy vlogger at the time, just the sheer variety of what I needed to do and how I needed to adapt was crazy. There'll be one days where he would film 30 minutes of content and be like, Hayden, I'm so sorry, you're gonna have to make a video out of nothing. And those are the harder days. And then he would then make and then he would then probably send me 5 hours of footage and say, hey, you need to make this into 10 minutes, good luck. And those are the harder days. But just the sheer variety, like honestly, you go onto his channel and just the sheer genre changing and shifting that we were doing every single video, just because we could. Like the rules didn't really exist. Retention editing wasn't really a thing then. It was like, just do whatever you want, go crazy, it doesn't matter, because it's a daily vlog. So the only stakes that were really there was to get it published. And so that was always the interesting experience. And I think just me supporting his personality, me supporting his ability, me supporting just his charisma, and then also most importantly, the best part was making fun of him. And the reason why is this: Logan is a stereotypical jock from Ohio. He goes to the gym every day. He's doing American football and rugby tackling everyone and calling everyone bro and dapping and dabbing at the time as well.
That was a thing. Yeah.
That was a thing.
Let's bring that back. Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, I miss it. Like, that was a good time. And for me, I was that lonely, introverted nerd that grew up watching Monty Python and Fawlty Towers. So the best way of putting it, and Logan knows this, was that the footage he gave me wasn't entertaining for me. It wasn't interesting. It was really boring. I kind of didn't really enjoy it as much. And so I then made it my job to make this funny for me.
Yeah. I've seen it. I saw one of your videos talking about, it was Logan reacting to your editing, and you had the scene comparison with the Always Sunny, like with the music coming in and being completely opposite to what's being shown on screen. And that completely like backs up what you're saying there, because like that's it's weird, isn't it? Like the kind of two opposites there coming together.
It was like there was something always so funny about just essentially making fun of what he was doing. And so it is a case of, I think the best example was always going to be this. It was him and his brother Jake were doing a stunt, and it was like a dirt bike off a ramp. And on Jake's video, they letterboxed it, high contrast color grading. They put on some trap music underneath with some rap mumble lyrics, and they made Jake look really cool. And yeah, that's fine. But whereas for me, when Logan did the exact same stunt, I put Beethoven music underneath.
You bring an element of class to the edit, I think.
I brought an element of class to a jock from Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mean. But then that's what made it fun for me. It was and that is why Logan attracted many more audiences, because of just the style of presentation of essentially just take the piss out of Logan.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it obviously worked. There is proof in the pudding there. The views and the subscribers. I'd say it's hugely in part to you and your creativity. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
And that's my opinion.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask this. I've asked every editor this, and you can feel free to tell me to go fuck myself. First Paycheck. Maybe tell me about the Facebook place. What were they paying you, if you don't mind sharing that?
So I didn't know enough about money at that time, and I was hungry.
Yeah.
And so my first job with the Facebook video company, even though they're making millions, they were only paying me $25,000 a year.
Okay.
Which in 2016 is low.
Yeah.
That is very, very low. And then, so I think that was also one of the first moments for me. And I was like, oh, this sucks. It was like, I put in all of this hard work in the first month, and then that was £2,000. I was like, oh, you can't do shit with this, especially living in London.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that I was able to still live with my parents at the time, but if I didn't live with my parents, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was no. So like, honestly, that sucked. But then honestly, then once I then got the job with Logan, again, didn't know that much, and my first salary with him was 50,000 a year,
Right.
which is that's actually not bad, especially in
It's like
2016.
double. Yeah.
But then it incrementally increased into a place where I would rather protect my income that I had probably around the end of that time.
Right.
But it incrementally increased, but yeah, it's yeah. I think first paycheck was like £2,000.
Yeah.
And for a month of work, it's not good.
And it's an interesting. I find the topic of money around editing quite interesting because it is, especially YouTube editing, it's like a Wild West, man. Nobody really knows whether to price it per video, per hour, do a salary, or like a mixture of like a retainer and then giving extra per video that they produce. What would like Hayden's ideal payment system be in a YouTube editing landscape, do you think?
I think it's one of the beautiful things and also disastrous things about our industry is that all three of those are applicable.
Yeah.
And I think it really does go down to the individual. And so I don't think there should be a set rule, because there could be a creator that only really posts like once every 2-3 months or something. And so yeah, like work for that guy for a month and move on. Or there could be the person that's posting every single day and of course be on that full-time salary. Or if it is also a retainer, it is like, hey, I've already paid for X amount. Just like I'm optimistic that you can commit.
Yeah.
But then also hourly probably works towards maybe the benefit of the editor. But the only issue then is that creates the wrong incentive. In the sense of, well, if this is hourly, I'm going to really spread out my effort to make sure I charge. And so it's up to the creator to have the responsibility to kind of create a cap. Like you are max at 50 hours on this video or 100 hours on this video, but then you may as well just be paying just for the video itself then.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of just makes things so much more confusing. There's an interesting thing, and things like you probably have a similar experience in this. Well, actually, no, I want to ask you this transparently.
Okay.
Do you, in your career financially, have a better business talking about editing than actually editing?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
Don't you think that's a fundamental? I don't think did you realize that?
Not really. I haven't really thought about it. Hence the million yeses. But yeah, that's an interesting point, isn't it?
Don't you think there's a fundamental problem?
Yeah.
The fact that it's like we can have a better business. I'm saving up for a deposit for a house because by talking about editing than actually editing.
Yeah.
And it's quite weird. And so I would say the pay amount, there is a huge disproportion. And I think that's why for me that I kind of, as of now, pivoted towards talking about editing more so, but also because it means I'm learning. But it's really interesting in the fact that I think I quit a full-time job with Logan to pursue a career in talking about editing, and I doubled my income in a year.
Yeah.
But then also, some of the most highest paid editors I know are full-time, but they are with the creators that can afford it, such as Mr. Beast, The Sidemen, Laserbeam, those massive channels where they've gotten to a point where money doesn't mean anything anymore. And then these editors become so talented that it's actually in the creator's incentive to give them such a high pay that they are not poached.
Yeah.
And so actually that's probably the best place to be as an editor. Get in a place where you're too expensive to be poached. So actually full-time pay is the best pay for an editor.
Damn. We worked it out. We figured it out.
Yeah.
Let's patent this as well.
What I mean by poached is making sure Jimmy doesn't poach you.
Yeah, I get that. Because he will. If you're that good, he will. He
he did like a massive sweep across the entire industry because he could. But respect to him. That's the game.
Yeah. How long was it before you started telling people at parties that you were an editor?
Oh, okay. That's a great question. I think, again, around the 2016 time, it was still considered taboo for a creator to claim they had an editor. But before then, I think that's how I was when I was going to networking places or YouTube social gatherings when it was a much more of a smaller industry. That's how I was introducing myself to other YouTubers, other small YouTubers at the time. Like, hey, I'm an editor, and then that's how I then started becoming friends because I started editing videos for other creators or with other creators. So I actually, honestly, straight away, I have to be honest, I was never ashamed of being an editor.
Good.
But even around 2013, 2014, much earlier. Like that was like 2010, 2009. I was already claiming myself as an editor then.
Nice. Unprofessional,
terrible at it, but even then I was claiming myself as an editor then.
Nice. What's the best piece of editing advice someone has given you?
I run a channel where I'm essentially asking for advice from some of the biggest, most powerful editors in the industry.
Yeah.
And right now, as you then asked me this question, I'm running through every single episode and I'm genuinely can't decide. I can probably tell you one of my favorite recent ones. This one was from the X-Men 97 editor. A really, really underrated show that came out on Disney this year, and I thought it was excellent. And I asked him about a moment in an action scene when a car flew out of a cave and it was in the air for a few moments and then it lands and then there was an explosion. And the way he kind of described trying to time it was he was being conscious of his breath. So he played the action. So he's playing the action and he's noticing that his breath is getting faster because it's quite intense action. And then when they break out of the cave, he inhaled. And then he was trying to note how he was holding his breath. And then when he breathed out to exhale was when he then made the car land.
Okay.
So he was being conscious of his breathing to try to find the timing of an impact.
Interesting.
I've never thought of it in that way of being conscious of your physical reactions to hit a time, to hit the rhythm of something. Yeah. For me, that's bloody crazy. Okay, so here's one with the current project that I'm on and I'm experimenting with, and it's a fascinating experience.
Okay.
So this was the editor of Civil War, and again, I honestly think it's a really underrated movie. And one of the comments I said to him is how realistic the film was. And I asked him, like, what did you do? And he went, we just didn't add music. And it was like everything about it was so important for a lot of the much more intense scenes to be played essentially in real time, to be played realistically. And one of the best ways of doing it is simply just not adding music. The moment music is added, that is an element that doesn't exist in the perspective of the film, which tells you that this is a film. And that gives you a sense of safety in moments of tension.
Yeah.
And so by removing that music, those moments when a gun's being aimed at them or a helicopter is shooting chain guns above them, it is so visceral.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating because in that episode we did a comparison. I did a test, and it's amazing how much of a difference it makes just by adding music.
Yeah.
And so now I've been experimenting with a video that I've been working on of like, can I have this scene work without music? And it's making everything so much more realistic.
Interesting.
And so much more of a visceral experience now. And so it's like I've been learning pulling back on my editing.
Yeah.
Like how can I make sure that the story is there and the experience feels real? And I think it's going to be a lot more interesting with the way that things are going to become a lot more artificially intelligent, that we're going to be wanting things real again.
Yes. So you think there'll be a backlash to the AI waves?
Transparently, I'm an AI centrist. There's some things I hate about it, and there's some things I love about it.
Yeah.
But one of the results that we are going to get from this as it continues to improve is that we're going to want more desirable, realistic experiences, something that in theory AI is not going to be able to replicate.
Yeah.
And so that's why theater is going to have a resurgence. Films that truly are obviously made by the human touch are going to become a lot more valuable.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think for me, my stock is on editing less now.
Imagine putting those two together. You're editing something, you want to make it realistic. You listen to your body when you're doing it, and then you take away music. I think it sounds pretty powerful. That's great. Yeah. That's really good.
It reminds me of Jen. You just made a connection. Sorry. One more editor. The editor of Yorgos Lanthimos' films.
Yeah.
Really fantastic films. But he talks about the code of the scene. So what is the code that the scene is giving you, and it is your responsibility to achieve that. And again, he says one of the best ways to do it is to simply let these shots play out, and you to not cut. It's fascinating.
Damn. I hope that all of this can be applicable to YouTube someday. You know.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of this is traditional stuff, but since the worlds are colliding, that's why I'm studying TV and film.
Yeah.
It's because I just want to speed up the process of all of those worlds coming together.
Yeah. The final thing. Let's imagine that we have an editor here. I'm sure you can understand exactly who this person is. A new editor who's just like, he wants to know where to start, what's going on. If you had a piece of advice to give them, like we're talking newbie here, like a noob. They want to get into the industry. They want to start working with someone. What's the piece of advice that you'd give them?
I think both of us were able to start getting our foot in the door when we gave ourselves personal experience. We experimented, we played around, we filmed our own stuff and tried to make it work. And we failed, and we did it again, and then we did it again, and we did it again. And so it got to a point where we had a base skill that could be applicable to other developing creators. And then I was in it, and then it might be and then you can find probably that small group of people who are growing up at the same pace as you in terms of skill, and start working with each other. And start making things like, hey, I'm good at editing, let me work for you. Hey, you're good at filming, come film my video. And then you start learning all of the skills of content creation. And then you do that for like about a year or two, maybe 3, maybe even 4. And then you have that base knowledge of skill that can be applicable to other people. And now that you've made content, you can then start posting that online, or you could be posting reels, or no, not even reels, not show reels, but that's so outdated now. As in just essentially showing your work.
Yeah.
Using this to then start showing your work, putting it online, and this then essentially becomes a magnet. And then if you are making that type of content and you found what the type of content that you like to make, people with considerably higher talent or a much higher career point has a high chance of naturally finding that content at some point. And then they're going to go, oh, that's really good talent. And they're going to reach out to you and say, hey, do you want a job? And so basically the short point I'm trying to say is that you have to build the magnet, and then you have to then use that magnet to then attract the people that you want to work with, and they will come.
Yeah.
And that is all of my opportunities in my life have been because I made myself a magnet. The best example is I made my channel where I started talking about it. So I did all of this work before working for Logan. We had film school, multiple YouTube channels. I had a group of friends where we developed our skills together. And I then got that job at a Facebook video company, and then with my experience and skills, with luck, I was then able to, as a magnet, attract Logan Paul. After all of those years, I then used this opportunity to then start my editing channel. I then started posting about my knowledge in editing, and then also just showcasing my skill. And then that then became a magnet to attract Mr. Beast. And so I then started working for Mr. Beast. I worked with him for a little bit, for about a year or two. I then decided to move on. And now, again, I'm being a magnet again with my editing podcast channel by investigating and interviewing these film and TV editors. And now I have multiple TV and film opportunities in my inbox because I was a magnet. You just simply have to find a way to let them know that you exist by being attractive.
Be attractive.
Cool.
Be attractive.
Be attractive. Like, but like getting a six pack also helps. But also just being magnetically attractive.
That's what I took from that. Actually, it was just get a work out a little bit. You'll be all right.
Get a six pack and you'll get any editing job.
The last thing, what is next for you? What you got on the cards, if you fancy sharing it?
I will be a little bit vulnerable in all of this. I think I started this whole career when I was about 16 years old. Just like, yep, I want to be an editor. And then I kind of chose that moniker. And then I am now 30 years old, and I feel like I kind of just woken up. As in like, wait, what the hell just happened? Because editing has such a fast and aggressive pace that genuinely the years seem to have skipped for me. And someone else asked me this earlier this year, like, what did you want to do, Hayden? And I couldn't answer it. I genuinely forgot what was the thing that made me most interested in film content creation. And so I have to be completely honest. I'm in a bit of a soul search into what is the next thing that is exciting me.
Yeah.
And while doing that, taking the freelance jobs of things that are interesting for me, learning more and studying about it, and so therefore maintaining a good foundation of life, while essentially now allowing the world to give me the next golden ticket.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the same loop again. I now have the skills, and I am now using those skills as a magnet to then be presented with the next lucky opportunity. So as of now, genuinely, I don't really know what is next in terms of my next big thing, but I'm really excited to find it.
Searching is a very admirable answer, and I can understand that completely. So good on you. That all sounds great, dude. Hayden has a course. Go check that out in the description as well. And his channels, his 2 channels.
But dude, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. I really appreciate you coming on and spending an hour of your busy schedule with me. Make sure that you go and check out www.storesar.com, sign up to our mailing list, and stay up to date with our most recent presets and courses. And also subscribe, and make sure to check out our other tutorials on our other presets. All right, see you later.